Average Dude has something to say about...
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is another episode of Average Dude, and it happens to deal with September 11th because it is September 11th, 2012. I wish that it could be a good one. This is not going to be a very happy, uplifting video. I wanted to talk about Biden's speech. Usually he puts his foot in his mouth. He actually did a really good job on this, talking about September 11th and what it means to be a citizen. Imagine that. A politician actually effectively putting himself in the position of being just a regular person with all the other people, all the other citizens. Very, very unusual. It doesn't happen a whole heck of a lot. But I guess if it's going to happen at all, it would be based on a situation like September 11th. But unfortunately, I can't talk about that because the Middle East is acting like a bunch of assholes. Yeah, where do I start? Let's start with our ally, Israel. The White House rejected a request by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to meet with Barack Obama here in the U.S. this month because they don't agree with Iran's nuclear program and how to deal with it. And this situation is an absolute cluster screw. It's a mess. We know that Iran's a pain in the ass and that it's out of control. And that it's one of those countries that is constantly flashing its ass to the rest of the world. Ha 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 ha, we're going to deal with you, we're going to deal with you, you can't do anything, nah, 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 nah. And constantly showing just how castrated and inept the UN is. The UN sucks. I don't even know why we're even a part of the UN. The UN is a bunch of dickless, useless, pathetic pieces of crap that do nothing. They keep talking. And this is where I don't understand where Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is coming from. Because he doesn't... This is what he has. He has a problem with the U.S. Saying that there's plenty of time. Hillary Clinton was on record saying that the United States is not setting a deadline for further talks with Iran, yay, and that there's still time for diplomacy to work. No, there isn't. Hillary, what the hell have you been smoking? Diplomacy has not worked. Diplomacy does not work with the badly behaved children that have learned that when you say, oh, do this or else, or else, or else, or else what, nothing happens? They're not going to do what you want them to do. Diplomacy is not going to... We're past that point with Iran. And unfortunately, I wish that I could sympathize with Mr. Netanyahu, but what he wants is this. We need to set a clear boundary for Iran's uranium enrichment activities, in other words, the threat of nuclear weapons, and imposing stronger economic sanctions that could deter Tehran from developing nuclear weapons and mitigate the need for military action. What he wants are sanctions? Oh, what? Benjamin, Benny, buddy, what the hell? You are just as deluded as Hillary is. Hey, so there you have the government of the United States and the government of Israel thumbs up their butts. They don't have a clue. The people of the U.S. get it. The people know that in order to truly deal with a situation, you take care of it head on because that's how you do it. The U.S.'s history is completely entrenched in that one and proving how true it is until recently when we've tried to be ridiculously diplomatic and it doesn't work. Not with the problematic child that keeps throwing temper tantrums and doesn't pay attention to the parents. You need to move on. And unbelievable, Benny boy, do you realize that we are, the U.S. is your biggest support? You're in the middle of a war zone, Benny. The Middle East wants to cut you out and Israel and wants to take that sacred land for themselves. And you're picking a fight with the U.S.? Are you suicidal? Oh, God. Unfortunately, that's not the only situation that's going on right now around the time of September 11th. Moving on. Oh, out of all the times to be doing this, Egypt is so used to protesting. It's like their favorite pastime right now. And while their initial protests actually showed that they had balls, they did more than what America and that the citizens of America, the U.S., and the citizens of China both don't like the crap that their government pulls and the way things are and how things are for the average citizen of their respective countries. Egypt actually had balls and made changes, but now they're just simply protesting for everything that makes them butthurt. Egypt, what the hell are you thinking? September 11th is when you pull this horse crap? Yeah, the protesters have a problem with it, and I understand why they have a problem. There's a movie that is besmirching and talking trash about Muhammad. And if you look at a lot of news articles on this, right now, I can tell you right now the U.S. is in protective, press blackout mode. They'll tell what they want to tell. Sites like Wikipedia and other sites that aren't quite so U.S. flavored, what the U.S. is doing in the news and a lot of the news stories, whether they're online or on TV, if they're coming from America, they're saying that we don't exactly know what movie this is. Bullshit! Okay, people, it's another situation with Terry Jones, that butthole pastor in 2010 here in America that burned a whole bunch of Korans and made us look ridiculous. Thanks, Terry. And he's affiliated with this movie in 2012. And this is pissing the Egyptians off. Okay, Egyptians, I get Terry Jones is an asshole. But think before you do. Think of the ramifications. Their behavior sucks. Okay? The regular American citizen does not like what the American government is doing, and they don't like what these ridiculous radical buttholes like Terry Jones does, or Westboro Baptist for that matter. And yet we have to deal with that. We have to deal with their free speech, and here you are pissing and moaning about any criticism of Islam. Screw you. Deal with it. We're constantly dealing with being on the receiving end of crap here in America. We don't feel your pain on this, especially on September America. Oh my God. They scaled the walls of the U.S. Embassy on Tuesday. They took the flag, burned it, and this movie must be banned immediately. An apology should be made. A 19-year-old Ismail Mahmoud. I probably mispronouncing that name, and I'm trying not to insult the guy, but you know what? At the same time, don't watch the damn movie. Those of us here in America that don't like that crap aren't going to be watching it. Ban the film if you want to. I don't care. The American people, for the most part, don't care. But if you don't like the film, don't pay for the... Just make your own decision. But don't even think of asking the American people to apologize to you because you get all butthurt because you hear something that makes you cry. Screw you. The United States is giving your military like a $1.3 billion a year in aid, and you're pulling this crap. You know what? U.S., pull the aid. You want to stand, you want to be tough guys and be all ooh up in your face, then you stand on your own. That's what's called consequences, you whiny heinies. You do it on your own. I don't believe that you truly do have that much of a backbone, and I love this one. If your freedom of speech has no limits, may you accept our freedom of action. Ooh, careful with that one. Remember, this is September 11th. Remember how the United States, a country that's largely divided because of the radical nut farts, they banded together pretty much in unison for action. Watch your step, buckos, because when you get the U.S. to agree on something, ooh, not good. And perhaps you should think before you open your mouths. And the U.S. Embassy, just to add, U.S., I want you to understand what your country is doing. We firmly reject the action by those who abuse the universal right of free speech to hurt the religious beliefs of others. The U.S. Embassy said that in their statement. So U.S., once again, I'm going to say, because I said this in another video dealing with Westboro, it's more important for everyone to be able to talk down to the U.S. citizen and for people like Westboro to insult the hell, to protest the funerals of your loved ones, than it is for people overseas to hear any criticism of their religion. Screw you. That is my response as a U.S. citizen to the rest of the world. America should not be part of the UN. The UN is constantly taking advantage of us. It's bad enough that the U.S. citizens have to be taken advantage of by our government, but we need to just leave. Exit the UN. Let the rest of the world wonder what we're going to do. And let China step up and deal with being the one that actually has to do stuff because the UN requires it. Enjoy that, China. But you know what? It's never going to happen, fellow U.S. citizens, because our government, we're the world's bitch, and we're going to continue to be. That's my message for September 11th, and I wish it were otherwise. Everybody, I feel for you. Take care.